like what's happening in the market. I know I'm talking with a lot of clients constantly. That's like one of the metrics I stick most to right now is how many meaningful conversations am I having with
Yeah.
my client base, with referral partners, with past customers, and a lot of people are asking, what's the market doing? Are home prices going to go down? Are they going to go up? And I feel like there's a lot of misinformation out there. People trying to be. I've seen these ads for people trying to swoop in, and like find distressed properties, and it's like I just don't think the market's going there. We have a completely different outlook than it is right now. What do you think on everything happening right now?
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree. I'm seeing a lot of people trying to swoop in and, like you said, get some good deals because people are thinking that the market's taking a downturn, and that's not necessarily the case. What I'm seeing from a realtor side of things is that for the most part, the home prices are still holding steady. A lot of that is due to lack of inventory. We still don't have a ton of inventory across the upstate. What I'm also seeing is I'm seeing a lot of transactions slowing down. In other words, like it's taking longer to close a deal. People are doing a little bit longer inspection periods. They're kind of wanting to feel things out a little bit with the market. And I'm also seeing a lot less deals happening just in general. So, less units are being moved now more than a month ago. Not to say that people aren't buying property. There's still a lot of property that's moving throughout the whole upstate. But I think you're saying the people that maybe were kind of on the fence, they've either made the decision, yes, I'm going to jump all in. I'm going to do this deal. I'm going to buy this home, buy this property, or they're saying, you know what, I just think now's not a good time. And so I think with everything that's going on, it's really caused people to make a decision, and it's made the people who are serious a lot more serious.
Yeah, no, and you hit on a point there. That's one of the main things that I'm seeing is that home prices are still actually. I actually have a good little infographic here. Let me see if I can pull it up and share my screen here. Boom. Let me know if you can see this. So we got this right
Yeah.
here. This was annual home prices right before you see the period 2000 to 2005. We had much higher level of appreciation than where we are at right now. This is from Keeping Current Matters. So they're a good resource I follow. I'm sure you've heard of them as well. And this
Hmm.
is just crazy. Like this is what like the numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie. We're in a completely different market where we were just in this position right before obviously 2008. Completely different market. Home prices are still they're still going up. So like people are just I feel like worrying about things that they don't need to really worry about.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's really just causes people who are serious to be like, hey, we need to buy this house, we need to make a move, we need to refinance, whatever that might look like for them. um, and we still are seeing properties sell fairly quickly. As long as the property is obviously priced accordingly for the market, we're still seeing it move fairly fast. The properties aren't sitting on the market and just sitting on it.
Yeah, one thing
Um,
I saw is that we're down to what, like, is it 3 months inventory? The last it was like
and
3.1 months of inventory, which is just I don't think it's not very much.
No, that's really some of the lowest I've seen in the last couple of years here
Yeah,
for the upstate. And I know for people who have been in the business for the upstate specifically a lot longer than I have, I know they can speak to that as well. It's just a really weird time because you're not seeing a lot of people, or excuse me, rather builders building these new homes for people that are at a good price point where people can get in for these almost like entry level homes. We're seeing a lot of these large national builders across the upstate building very nice homes, but ranging anywhere from 200,000 to 400,000. For these pretty standard cookie cutter homes. And so for a lot of people, some of those price ranges might be a little, again, out of their price range. And so
right.
I think that's kind of adding to that lack of inventory.
It is, and it's like kind of just adding fuel to that fire, so to speak. Because one thing, a lot of people, I talk with a lot of people in this area. I mean, it just is what it is. That we're not as, I guess, our cost of living is lower down here, but incomes are
Hmm.
lower for the
Yeah.
most part across the board. So people aren't making as much money. They want to get that $900 to $1,200 a month mortgage payment. It's like, well, that's gonna put you in the 140 to 160,000 range, and that's a really competitive range. Not
Hmm.
a lot of not a lot of builders are building in that range. And also, what we're going to find is that credit requirements are tightening up too. So a lot of the people
Yeah.
that would be fits for that, if you're out there looking and they're like, all right, this is a good time to buy, but my credit's a 620. Well, credit requirements are tightening down now because the unemployment going up. That means there's going to be a lot more defaults. So the standards actually lend money are going to change. It's not even going to be as easy I feel like they might loosen back up again in the future, but until things start moving and we have some stability, it's going to be hard. Like the availability of credit right now, this is another thing to really pay attention to, and why I don't feel like we're going to have massive drop. There's still going to be the demand may drop, but there's still the demand for affordable homes, really just homes in general, is still a lot higher. That even if there's less buyers, there's still going to be that demand there. People aren't just
Hmm.
like, the prices of homes are not just going to all of a sudden plummet. Like they're going to maintain that value because people have to have a place to live. They might just not be transacting as much. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I fully agree. That's still what we're seeing across the upstate. They're holding steady for the most part. They're still in very much high demand, which is why we're not seeing the prices drop, specifically like the 2008 crash. The overall transactions, as you just mentioned, they are slowing down. There's not as many going on, but stuff still is moving,
Yeah,
which is good. Which is good, I think, for everybody across the board, because it helps. People get into homes when they need it. They're still able to be able to buy a home at a good deal. They're still able, as long as they meet some of those credit requirements and other requirements. They're still able to go get into the homes when needed.
yeah. I mean, we got, this is another chart I had. You see where the amount of homes that we have, just like even right now today, is way less than where we were, back in 2008, 2010. You just there was a lot more inventory, well over 7 months. Right here we have a lot less. So I mean, I feel like it's probably going to just stay that way for a while.
I think it will too. I think there have got to be a couple of different factors that play into it long term. One of them is just builders coming in and building at a lower price point. I think the overall economy has got to support the builders to do that, and then I think that's really going to help open up some more of that lack of inventory that we're seeing, because there's only so much pre-built and pre-existing homes, without coming in and adding new inventory to the market.
The issue, I think, and I've talked with some land developers about this, is interesting. The problem is we have land available, right? But the builders, they build these more expensive homes because there's only limited land available. So it's like, why would you, if you only have limited amount available, would you spend money building a lower income development, not making as much, or would you rather, kind of maximize what you're going to make? And I think that's the decision that they're coming down, because there's a lot of red tape. I've talked with some people at DR Horton, and there's just a lot of tape when it comes to getting the permits, getting the land, hiring workers, hiring a crew, to get in here and do that. And so you see that in the margins, and then you see new homes that are being built are not affordable for everybody.
Yeah. And I think another thing that kind of plays into that process of not having ample land available is just the overall time that it takes from when you're looking at a property and saying, okay, I think this might be something we can pursue, to actually, like you mentioned, trying to pull those permits, get people out there, make sure that it's good to go for that development. And
Yeah,
unfortunately, that's just a very long and lengthy process.
yeah, and that, I think that just, this topic maybe for a whole other call, is cutting some of that some of that red tape. And I feel like any kind of economic recovery is going to have to take into consideration the need to allow, like, we got to get housing starts to pick back up, because that's one of the leading indicators is what is the housing starts this quarter, like how many new homes are being built. They've already dropped, like the highest they've ever been in history was back in 2014. I want to say it was like a little over 1.5 million new homes being built a month. Obviously, we're right now, we got to wait for the latest housing starts to be released, but that's going to drop down significantly. It's probably going to drop down. It's probably going to cut it by a million units, because a lot of builders just aren't building. And it's yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I mean, we're in some crazy time. I saw one report today, and I don't know how reliable this is, that said unemployment could get up to 32%. And I'm like, I mean, the Great Depression was 24.9%, 24 points. It was 24 point something percent. And that was like, our great grandparent, my great grandmother, she was a hoarder. She was a hoarder because of the Great Depression. It's like, I don't think people understand what are things going to be like if unemployment does keep going up.
Yeah, it's
part of it.
It's really crazy. Some really unprecedented times that we're in this, for sure.
Yeah. Well, what is your plan as far as just, keeping going personally? What are some of the things that you are finding yourself, maybe you could share, that you've been doing to just stay calm and just stay, focus on what you can control? So many people are going crazy. What are you doing that's worked for you?
Yeah. So, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. You really got to focus on what you can control. I feel like a lot of people get worried about what the overall government's doing, or what new legislation is coming down the pipeline, whatever it may be. And while some of it might be beneficial for you, some of it might not be. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because you really can't control it. So for me personally, I'm just focusing on what I can control. I'm focusing on how can I not only grow my business still during this time, but how can I continue to add value to my customers? How can I show that I'm there and caring for them, not just in a way that's going to show it, but actually, how can I truly, add value to them? How can I truly help them in this time? And so this is just a really great example of being in business with Keller Williams, but our Keller Williams office was helping out the town of Seneca all this week. They have been hit really, really hard with these tornadoes. And so, even though even though everything's going on with this virus, at least we can still go in and help people and bring relief. And so I think that's just a really important thing to highlight, is that regardless of what the situation is, whether it's somebody who is losing their job, or their family is affected by this virus, family member, whatnot, or even something as these tornadoes, I think just being there for customers and for clients long term is going to have a lot bigger reward than just trying to go out and do some short term deals here. I think for me personally, it's just really focusing on my database. It's focusing on my clients. Who can I reach out? Check in, see how they're doing. And again, just focusing on the things that I can control, and focusing on the things that I can do, rather than worrying about everything else that's around us.
Yeah, because exactly. You can't. There's going to be all kinds of turmoil going around behind you and around you. But if you get distracted and you let those things take over your thoughts, it's like fear has a very real response in like the way you come across and like the way you perform your job. And so, yeah, I've had to learn to just like, I don't even read the news as much. I mean, I want to be informed, but it's like shut all that off and focus on showing up, making my calls, checking in with people, making my content. This is the basic stuff. And also, I found more time to just read more.
Yeah.
I like it. Just read more books. Just read more books. Like spend time doing the things you're trying to get out, and writing more music and stuff, which has been fun. And it's honestly doesn't really even feel that different to me. I don't know. Like, I feel like this whole past year, I've just been so blinders on anyway that it's like, wait a minute, is this? Where's everybody else? What's the big deal?
Yeah. And I kind of feel this exact same way, like, with the exception of being able to I guess, travel and go to businesses and, local businesses. I feel like everything's still remaining, for the most part, pretty normal for me. Really just trying to focus on how can I better my clients, doing teaching classes here and there, kind of like you, making content. And one thing that I do want to hit on, because you kind of mentioned it earlier with unemployment, but I have had so many people reach out to me recently, and just through what I do with my career consulting for Keller Williams, but so many people are looking at other career options right now, which is really crazy because, before, people weren't having, the availability to really look for different career options and maybe pursue what they've always dreamed of. And so I've had some really great opportunities to talk with some phenomenal individuals this week and last week mostly about, potentially getting into real estate. And it's crazy because I'll talk with them and they'll be like, yeah, I was working this other job and was just so busy with that and my family. And unfortunately I got laid off, but now I have time and money to go pursue what I've always wanted to do. And I'm like, man, you know, uh, just really being able to make the most of your situation. And I think that's just the coolest thing to be able to be a part of.
Yeah. Yeah, the economy's changing. Like right now, more than anything, if you don't have not taken the time to master or like figure out how to make money or make cash or just grow your business using social media, then yeah, it's like I feel like we've had like a 5 years, like the disruption has come 5 years sooner. Like the freelance market, independent, social media businesses, that's here to stay. That's reality now. So it doesn't really matter what you get into real estate. If you get into real estate, how can you, like, instead of being that transactional, like, all right, I'm just here to run numbers for you and open the door for you, you're that advisor, right? You're that
Hmm.
person who's putting out relevant content, because they can't get that. They can't get you from anybody else, like they can only get you from you, right? Regardless of what you're doing.
Right.
And like for a lot of people, it's like, well, I'm tired of working my hourly 9 to 5 job. Like I can't depend on that. No, you can't. You have to only really depend on yourself right now. If anything, what we can learn is we can't trust the media, and you can only depend on yourself and God,
Exactly.
what your higher power, whatever, like you can only depend on you truly to make money in this world.
Yeah.
And there's so much abundance out there. You just got to figure out what your passion is. What is your passion and purpose? Whether that's real estate, for us, it happens to be involved with helping people with their money and buying the home. But other people listening to this, they might want to do something else. Like my brother, he's a welder, so I've
Hmm.
been trying to work with him on my house. Can you make your welding art and sell the stuff online? If you make 50, 60, $70,000, like if you have a skill set and you make that amount of money, you can do it online. That's probably more than you're making right now anyway.
Hmm.
You know,
Yep.
so get out and do
Yep.
it.
Yeah, and just really trying to find different ways to add additional streams of income. With utilizing some of the online tools, utilizing marketing. Um, it's just really interesting because we have such a captive audience right now. Because unfortunately there are a lot of people out of work, and people that aren't necessarily out of work. Maybe they're at home. Maybe they just have more free time. I guess, for lack of a better way to put it, but they're just they're online on social media. They're looking for content, looking for things to do, and so even really just as far as the social media advertisement and marketing side, there's just such a captive audience right there.
I and we just gotta keep showing up. Just gotta
Yeah,
keep showing up. Amanda, hopefully this has been some good information that we've shared for some people. I appreciate you taking, just a short amount of time out of your day. I'm sure you got other people to call back as well to get on back. But this is good. I'm gonna clip this out and get it uploaded. I'm gonna put it on my YouTube channel, and then I think I'm just gonna share the raw footage with you, and you can do what you want with it.
yeah, that's perfect, man. I appreciate it. I tried to record it, but for some reason it wouldn't let me record from mine. But yeah, I'll definitely put it on my channel as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna do